unlocking queenside space immediately, preparing for a potential queenside expansion and flexible development. Securing the center and preparing development, this often leads to solid, classical structures. Developing the knight to c3 prepares for central pawn advances and eyes the d5 square. Establishing central control with d5 immediately challenges white's c4 pawn and opens lines for black's bishops. Establishing central control and preparing to challenge black's pawn, this move aims for an open game with rich tactical possibilities. Challenging the center immediately creates dynamic pawn interplay and opens multiple lines. Opening a central diagonal for the queen's bishop, this exchange sharpens the pawn structure, potentially leading to dynamic piece play. Reclaiming the center with the pawn establishes a solid pawn duo, ready to contest central space and develop pieces actively. Developing the knight to a central square bolsters piece activity and prepares for castling, a foundational step in solidifying white's kingside. Unlocking development, nc6 connects the bishops and prepares for central counterplay, a sound positional foundation. Solidifying central influence and preparing for potential pawn pushes, this creates a robust pawn structure for white. Black immediately grabs space, though it risks isolating that advanced pawn. Bolstering the center, this bishop prepares to join the fray and potentially support a kingside attack while anchoring the d4 pawn. Seeking to pressure white's pawn chain, black bravely stakes a claim in the center with this bishop development. Securing the king is paramount, a sensible prophylactic measure against potential black aggression on the queenside. The knight's repositioning aims to reinforce the queenside pawn structure and prepare for a potential kingside sortie. Opening the center, this ambitious push seizes space and forces black to react, potentially weakening their pawn structure. Sacrificing a pawn for initiative and an open diagonal for the bishop is a bold gambit here, creating immediate tension. Reclaiming the central pawn opens up lines, challenging black's overextended structure. Securing the king's safety is paramount here, allowing for future development and avoiding immediate tactical worries. Securing the bishop's position on the queen's flank opens up crucial diagonal control. Challenging the knight's outpost, this piece aims to disrupt white's central pawns and create counterplay. Challenging black's advanced pawn creates immediate tension and forces a decision about piece development. Retreating the bishop here creates a breathing room, aiming to challenge white's central pawn structure and potentially exchange a minor piece. Retreating the bishop to a safer square, this allows white to eye the queenside and potentially prepare d5 expansion. Relinquishing the queenside pawn is a significant positional concession, opening lines for white's pieces and limiting black's queenside mobility. Safeguarding the king and preparing for a pawn push while preventing knight repositioning. Trading that bishop frees the d-file and eases pressure on white's center. Gaining a central pawn majority is a significant positional advantage that will serve white well. Initiating an exchange sequence here, black aims to disrupt white's pawn structure, though it temporarily weakens their own queenside. Targeting the weakened light squares around black's king creates immediate tactical pressure. Unleashing the knight to f5 initiates a bold assault, aiming to disrupt white's regal sanctuary by creating tactical threats. Focusing on the attacked knight, this move creates a dangerous discovered attack threat on the black queen. Shifting the queen to d7 prepares a kingside pawn storm or reinforces the central dark squares. Shifting the queen to target the weakened light squares and prepare for a potential kingside assault creates immediate pressure. Securing the king's escape route addresses the lurking danger from the developed bishop and knight. Gaining crucial central control and preparing to challenge black's cramped kingside position. Threatening to split white's queen and bishop, this maneuver demands immediate attention and reshapes the tactical landscape. The knight now reclaims its central influence, ready to support further pawn advances or join an attack. Reclaiming central influence, this knight immediately aims to activate the pinned bishop and challenge white's imposing pawn center. Retrieving the bishop from the aggressive pawn wall tidies white's queenside, preparing for future action and reinforcing control over key squares. Introducing dynamic pressure, black repositions the queen to centralize power and prepare for potential pawn advancements or tactical skirmishes. Reclaiming the open central files for potential pawn pushes, this rook aims to support future advances and challenge black's queenside presence. Reclaiming the queenside initiative, the queen repositions to a more active square, preparing for potential breakthroughs and offering flexible counterplay. The knight establishes a powerful outpost, threatening to disrupt black's queenside structure and eye the weak d6 pawn. An attempt to gain a breath of air, though it weakens the kingside's defense considerably. Snatching the b6 pawn opens a clear diagonal for the queen and disrupts black's fianchettoed bishop. Opening the file offers attacking potential, but exposes your king's defenses. Re-establishing the bishop's outpost on d2 offers a solid defensive anchor and prepares for future piece activity, potentially on the kingside. Trading rooks here simplifies the position, potentially opening lines for black's queen and knight. Reclaiming the file, white opens lines for rook activity and prepares to pressure black's weak pawns. Re-establishing a pawn chain along the d-file now aims to contest open lines and potentially create attacking chances. Reclaiming the outpost on d5, this bishop immediately targets the weakened queenside pawn structure. Finally, a chance to untangle that queenside knot and activate your rooks through the center. Unlocking the d-file opens lines of attack against black's weakened king. Reclaiming the vital diagonal for its queen, this move aims to disrupt white's pressure on the kingside. Shifting pressure to the queenside opens up fresh attacking avenues. Reclaiming the initiative, this maneuver prepares for a potential central breakthrough. Securing the king's retreat path while preparing a potential queenside pawn advance creates a subtle but important defensive repositioning. A defensive sidestep, the king retreating, but it solidifies the structure against any immediate threats. This maneuver unchains your rook, eyeing potential disruption on the 5th rank and asserting its presence. Seeking active piece play, black shifts the queen, eyeing potential disruptions on the kingside. Sacrificing the bishop unravels black's pawn structure, opening lines towards their vulnerable monarch. Reclaiming the captured knight creates a tactical skirmish, forcing white to immediately address the king's safety on the g-file. Forging a decisive attack, this check pierces the black king's precarious shield, potentially opening lines for further assault. A desperate maneuver, this king retreats, abandoning the initiative and leaving the queen exposed. Unveiling a tactical sequence, the rook captures the knight, potentially clearing a path for the queen to join the assault. The queen's relocation offers a temporary respite from immediate threats, aiming to regroup and explore the now open central files. Capturing the pawn creates a powerful passed pawn, but relinquishes central control, potentially opening lines for black's queen.